Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4! And today, spawning in the southeast corner of the map, playing in blue, we've got beastyqt playing as the Knights Templar. And battling against them today, spawning on the west side of the map, playing in red, we've got Corvinus 1 playing as the Delhi Sultanate. Welcome everyone to Relic River, a new map for Age of Empires 4, coming to you with the new Knights of Cross and Rose DLC. And, well, we've got one of the civilizations that, out of the two, of course, got Knights Templar being played today by beastyqt, House of Lancaster being the other. But I'm excited for this one, because it's a new map, and it's got an old civilization in the form of the Delhi, and a new one in the form of the Knights Templar. The really cool interaction between these civilizations is the focus on the sacred sites, which, by the way, very nicely and evenly split up on the map. Speaking of the map, we've got the river, as we'd expect given the name, plenty of relics around it. In fact, all of the relics are pretty much on the river bank. In the north, no fish, but on the south there in fact are a couple of fish to be contended for. Real question is, will either player go for this? I mean, on this particular matchup, I suspect probably not, in the sense that deer camp's probably going to be a big thing. Of course, we've got professional scouts, which the Delhi can get for free as a technology researched. The Knights Templar, probably going to go for the deer as well. I'm not so sure if the professional scouts will be particularly useful for them, because on the most recent patch, professional scouts has been made more expensive, and so a little less desirable. Either way, we'd like to say a very big thank you for everyone who's been supporting the channel. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you've been enjoying the content, maybe this is your second or third video that you've watched on the channel, and you haven't yet, make sure that you are subscribed, but more importantly, that you've hit the notification bell so you get a bit of a ding-dong when we do upload the next video, which I'm going to be making sure is a banger of a game. I'm going to be only uploading the very best cast that I've done. If it's not a particularly interesting game, then I won't upload it for sure, because, I mean, there's just no point, really. Everyone wants to watch the interesting games. Speaking of which, 2.5 minutes on the clock, and what's really interesting about the Knights Templar is they age up really fast, right? Because they don't actually need villagers to build it, but more importantly, they can just, I mean, the fact that they can get this sort of timing is pretty crazy. Gives you the vibes of sort of the Ayyubids or the Abbasids of the House of Wisdom, but the Knights Templar get it from the town centre. So the tech up time, a lot faster than the Delhi today. Speaking of which, it will be the Dome of the Faith being built by 3 villagers. And whilst it's a great thing that, you know, the tech up time is faster than the Knights Templar, it does mean they sacrifice villagers a little bit in terms of production, because the town centre, of course, is busy doing so. But he went with the Kingdom of France, which will give him basically a bit of a discount on his military that costs gold, but also be able to produce them quite fast. So not only does it get a quick time up to the next stage, but it's also going to produce the military units faster. And this particular Kingdom of France upgrade also does allow him to get the, I believe it's Chevalier, as a cavalry unit. You can see it in the town centre there already. So it looks like it's going to be essentially a knight opening. Now the Chevalier, essentially a cheaper knight, a bit less on the stats as well. And I believe they're quick to produce, especially with the tech up anyway. But I suspect there's going to be stables to counteract, well, I mean, on a map like this, you kind of want mobility, right? And essentially the French or the Knights Templar or JD, they do want the mobility nice and early. The one issue that Beastie might be up against is the Ghazi Raider. Wait, what's going on? Wait. Where are the villagers? Are they not building? Did he? I feel like Corvinus accident. Are they hiding? What? Oh, they're hiding in the corner there. Just for a second, they are sneakily building. For a second there, I thought he wasn't actually building the landmark, but it is indeed being built. They're just taking a while, right? I mean, it's normal time for the Delhi. It's just a testament to how fast the Knights Templar get their age up. And a lot of it's down to the fact that they don't need a lumber camp. And these villagers just drop off the wood and food, right? So if you're wondering how do they get such a fast time up, that's essentially how. So the villagers, when they mine or gather wood, 20% they also get as extra food. Here come the pilgrims going to the sacred sites. So essentially we're expecting to see a lot of units on the map. Both civilizations do enjoy getting map control because of the importance of the sacred sites. Opening up with a blacksmith and a stable. So yeah, certainly going to be expecting Ghazi Raiders, which do have a bit of a bonus damage against armored units. And so the Chevalier, which are probably going to be coming out. I mean, it's going to be difficult for me to pronounce that, but we'll try our best. There we go. Chevalier. They as you say, they're cheaper than regular knights. They've got heavy armor, strong in melee combat, and they are countered by spearmen and crossbowmen as you'd expect. But the cheapness as well means you can afford more of them and a double stable production. So the tempo aggression from Knights Templar looks very, very powerful. Going to be going for Bloomery first here for the Ghazi Raiders. Now, often we do see civilizations get a secondary unit before too long as well. I wonder who's going to go for that first. I mean, pure Ghazi Raiders for the Delhi could make a lot of sense if he's expecting Archer follow-up from the Knights Templar. And likewise, I feel like even though the fact that the Ghazi Raiders do get +2 bonus damage, the Chevalier are very cost-effective, and I think they may be able to take some decent fights. Especially if they look to heal on up on the sacred sites. Yep, it will be a second stable for the... oh, we just cancelled it for a second. But 25 seconds for a Ghazi Raider to be made. For the Chevalier, 22 seconds. Going to be getting some gold here now with the pilgrims making their safe journey. Should be 130 gold. Yeah, it is indeed. So the pilgrims are capped at that. 130 gold, can't get more than that per trip. One thing to note, by the way, on this map, it just occurred to me, this woodline is incredibly far away from that town centre. It makes it very tricky for the Delhi Sultanate to move on out because of the fact that actually it's likely that Beastie has more cavalry units nice and early, just because he started making them earlier, and they are faster to be made. This woodline is super exposed, which poses a problem for the Delhi because they can't really move out. And the big reason why that's a problem is because it means the pilgrims should be able to make their safe passages to these sacred sites. It really is going to come down to movement speed and maneuverability, and yeah, look at this, he's moving out, but he's going to be caught. Corvinus wants to go for the pilgrims, but he's going to pay the price. He's going to lose one village at least. Oh, maybe not actually. He doesn't lose a single one, but villages are exposed and they're being idled, right? So that's a big deal. Yeah, looking for the pilgrims here. Doesn't quite spot them. Was anticipating them going for the middle one, but in fact they went for the north. He spots them now. Looks like this pilgrim probably will make it in time. It'll be a close one. Well, maybe not actually. We'll have to see. Oh, did it cancel the animation there for a second? I feel like it did. Oh, just about couldn't do it in the end. Unfortunate there for Beastie, but another raid on the woodline here potentially. Yeah, we'll get a good charge on him this time and do some significant damage. Now, a cool thing about the Chevalier is that they actually get an extra health per heavy cavalry that's near it, so it doesn't even have to be another Chevalier. If you get a Templar brother, maybe later down the line, get an extra bit of health with these guys. Taking out some of these Ghazi Raiders. Now, behind all this, do you see double archer range, so it's going to be archer follow-up. I think actually, to be fair, Corvinus could just double down and make more stables. One thing to bear in mind, by the way, instead of having a double stable, he does just garrison a scholar inside, and so that increases the production rate. So essentially, he's operating on 2 stables at this point. Oh, a couple of archers will be picked apart. It's unfortunate for Beastie, but good unit placement for Corvinus will snipe some of these. It's very nice for him indeed. There we go, down they go. There aren't any spearmen anyway, something that you potentially are expecting as the Knights Templar player. Corvinus just sticking with the Ghazi Raiders for now. Now 1 second. Oh, bit of a spy sheep there. That's kind of funny. Oh, taking the fight. Oh, a couple of Ghazi Raiders will be caught here. He's going to focus on the archers, maybe get one more archer, but maybe not. Oh, a couple more Ghazis. To be fair, he's got some units here. He really is focusing on the archers, understandably so. In the end, actually, should be a decent trade here for Corvinus. The +2 bonus damage against armor units helping him out quite a lot. It feels like at this point, because Corvinus is staying with the Ghazi Raiders, probably makes a lot of sense for Beastie to stop making these archers. And that's yeah, look. Oh, to be fair, it looks like he's stopping production entirely. Maybe thinking about. Oh, he is getting Steel Arrow though, so maybe he is committing to the archer line. Neither player go for the castle age just yet. A little bit too risky to do so. Still a bit of a feudal age battle going on. And there's still Darrow for Beastie. Yeah, he's keeping up with the Chevalier. A couple of them being queued up still. Triple stable though. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, looks like archery range production has ceased. Understandably so, because I don't think... Oh, I was going to say he wasn't going to necessarily make some spears, but maybe he is now. Double barracks. For the Delhi. It works quite well for them if they do decide to go for the castle age, though. Man at Arms could be quite nice if he's expecting a bit of a switch from the Knights Templar, but probably not. I mean, Knights Templar, of course, they probably are going to be sticking with the cavalry today at least. We have sometimes seen them go for some slightly awkward units. Some sergeants maybe, but not today. Didn't go with that tech up to the feudal age. That should be a good fight here for Corvinus actually. Should be able to pick up 2 pilgrims quite nicely. And if he can pull the Ghazi Raiders back, he should be able to heal. One thing that's great for the Ghazi Raiders in this interaction is that they've got a movement speed of 1.88. Compare that to the Chevalier, 1.62. Alright, spearman production has commenced for the Delhi. Starting to run out of food underneath the town centre, which is a bit problematic. I suspect pro scouts should be in by now. Yeah, here we are. The scouts are bringing the food back home, which is certainly ideal for the Delhi. You want to delay the farming transition as much as possible. Beastie taking his deer down the south to maintain that food income. Also, Beastie is a little bit further ahead in terms of getting to the castle age, but I'm not suspecting that either player are going to go for that too soon, because there's quite a lot of aggression coming on in. As you typically expect from these two civilizations. Woodline is empty for now, at least. Corvinus moved his units away, his villagers away. It's a decent choke point for the archers to fight with. If they can snipe down the spearmen, then the Chevalier will have a nicer time with things. He's taking the engagement. Charge comes on in. Beastie's going to back away for now after getting the charges in. Spearman might... No. Thought for a second it might snipe down one of the Chevalier. The archers, though, they can't really back away from the fight, right? Don't really have the movement ability, speed to get away from there. This is a strong army from Corvinus. The Templar Knights do Chevalier if they get caught. It's going to be a problem. Yeah, it looks like Beastie's certainly thinking about the castle age. You can tell in terms of resources. Question is, what does he go up with? Whatever he decides to choose, he might be thinking about getting those relics nice and early. Just something you always want to stop the Delhi from doing. Farm transition comes on in for Corvinus, which is actually going to delay him things quite significantly. I mean, he needs it, right? I mean, he's got a couple of deer carcasses, but maybe not as much as he would have wanted. And this is great for Beastie, just keeping cavalry here, very purposeful, knowing that actually deer and food is a problem for Corvinus. Keeping the cavalry here just stops the scouts bringing them home. Oh, just running past the pilgrims though. Bit of a missed opportunity. Alright, he's going to go for the wood line. Cancels the barracks for now, doesn't want to give away his... Well, I guess it's kind of giving it away anyway, but... It's going to be the Angevin Empire. Fortresses and docks gain extra 30% health. And I think this is a very, very good one to choose, because often the Knights Templar do look for sacred site victories. Something that's very much on the table for him. Pilgrims continue to get the gold. Corvinus is not too far away for the tech up, but it's going to take a while. The big question is, does Beastie dive, right? Because he's up against the Delhi that's still in the feudal age, and it'll take time for the Delhi to get to castle age. Now could be a good time, especially as the upgrades come on in. With the veterancy for the Chevalier already queued up, 15 seconds away, might see a bit of a dive. Well, he might be up against a couple of spearmen, which still should do a decent job. There's just not enough numbers, right? Good choke point to fight in with, though, with those spearmen. It's going to be the House of Learning for the Delhi. But yeah, now with the veterancy in, there's a good chance that Beastie just dives this. Couple more units heading forward as well. Pumping from all three stables. Adding in heavy spearmen, which is certainly an interesting unit. Certainly something we need to talk about for the Knights Templar is a heavy spearman, so it's a heavy unit. Still obviously very hard counters cavalry, but in and of itself it's quite hard to stop because archers won't work against it. You can go crossbows. I think that's probably the main counter to it. But with 5 ranged armor, it is pretty hefty. It forces the Delhi in a way to a certain unit. certain unit, which something that Beastie will be expecting. It's going to force the archery rangers as well. Looks like it's going to group up together. Now could be a good time. The castle just came on in. The power spike for the Delhi when they get to the next stage is not huge. So there's still a bit of a window of opportunity here for the Knights Templar to do some damage. Yeah, he's going to take out the spearman. One thing to bear in mind as well, kind of gives you vibes of the Limitane that have the shield wall ability. It means that they take less damage from arrows. The spearmen don't even have to activate an ability. They've got 5 ranged armor. They can just dive on in. Very hard to stop, right? It feels like there's only one unit that Corvinus can make to stop those spearmen. And that's crossbows, right? It's not something that he necessarily wants to make, although, to be fair, full crossbow would help against the Chevalier and the heavy spearman. So looking a bit dicey for Corvinus, because not only is he losing quite a few villagers, there's a lot of idle time being caused here. There's no safe haven for these villagers. This is going to be problematic for sure. Look how little damage these spearmen take. Absolutely bonkers. They're a cracking raiding unit. A couple of Ghazis trying to get counter raids, but it's not really working out for him. Trying to go for a Wallalow. Might get a couple of spearmen if okay, he's paying attention. Beastie gets out of there in time. Oh, that's a massive slaughter on those villagers. 16 gone down so far. Many more to go down, you feel. This is not looking good for Corvinus, not one bit. 30 villagers are idled, or 15 were at least. Tries to go for another Wallalow, but the idle time in itself is absolute madness, and this is definitely a worthwhile die for Beastie. It gives him a lot of breathing space, and wouldn't be surprised to see him do either one of two things. Think about a second town centre of his own, or maybe get fortresses on the map to solidify his positions. He's starting to lose his army though. So maybe Corvinus can start to breathe a sigh of relief, but he's got 9 food per minute coming on in, which is of course less than ideal. The units just keep trickling on in. It's kind of crazy actually. Yeah, here come the crossbows for Corvinus, but it just took a while, right? And so this is a really nice play to go for the heavy spearman, because, you know, we talked about tech up times and power spikes when you get to the next stage. With the spearman coming in, the heavy spearman, there's only one unit that Corvinus could make, and he wasn't really set up for it, right? He went stable barracks in the feudal age, so not only did he have to actually make the archery rangers, he had to then size up, get a good number of crossbows, which is hard to counteract this number of spearmen. Another thing that Beastie's been doing, he's been starting to pick up some of the relics. 2 so far. Corvinus has got 2 of his own. So should be 1 more to fight over. I'm not sure where it is actually. Oh, Corvinus is unfortunately not going to be able to get it. Beastie's got it in his grasp somewhere. Here it is. Now, Pro Scout's still working for him. Do you see some villagers on stone now for Beastie? So he's looking to get maybe some fortresses. Maybe a second town centre. Whatever he decides to do, he is very far ahead. One thing that's kind of in Corvinus's potential favour, or not favour, but a way back for him is village fortresses, right? So keeps, very, very strong as a defensive building, but can also double up as essentially a town centre. On that one Chevalier, it's going to delay things on that front a little bit, although, yeah, thankfully he's got 1 crossbowman. Corvinus is probably going to be sighing, having a sigh of relief there. That was only 1 Chevalier, not many more. It will indeed be a second town centre here for Beastie. Still gathering stone though, so that does suggest more fortresses potentially on the way. Adding in more archery ranges. The real question is, where does Corvinus go from here? I think obviously crossbows is a nice option, considering there was a massive play into spearmen, of which Beastie still has quite a few. If you're thinking you're playing the Knights Templar here, maybe thinking about horsemen. Try and counter the crossbows, or maybe some siege. It's going to go for the archers instead. Corvinus is too far behind the villagers, of course, is needing a bit of time to catch on up. But village fortresses as well, about 2 minutes away. So meanwhile, Beastie's economy lead will be building on up. And he's still leaning into the heavy spearman. It's kind of crazy to think about. 6 ranged armor. Does great bonus damage versus cavalry. And I kind of wonder what upgrades they can get. Of course, you've got the blacksmith ones. Imperial Age, I suspect there are some good upgrades to get from the university. We'll have a turn back to that in the future. Don't forget as well, he did tech up to the next stage, the first stage with the French contingent, which meant that they got an extra 10% damage. He looks to now do some more damage by just keeping things open. Looks like BC quite content to play the macro approach. He did do a lot of economic damage after all. Oh, fortress going up in the south, sacred site. I mean, Corvinus can't really stop that. It's probably going to have to back away with the army. So this solidifies a safe route for the pilgrims for the Knights Templar. He's still got enough stone to even get another 2 fortresses potentially, quite quickly. Now he does actually have all 3 sacred sites as well, so as we kind of expect with the Knights Templar, sacred site victory could be an option for them. Here comes a fortress on the middle one. Only 7.5 minutes on the sacred site timer, so I mean Corvinus, he is on a timer for sure. Is he thinking about Imperial Age? He's floating a lot of food. I mean, he must be thinking about Imperial Age with these sorts of resources, right? I mean, a fast in play could be an option. It takes some time for the technologies to come on in. He will be going for the Hisar Academy. Acts as a madrasa, generates 12 food per minute based on the number of technologies researched. Does not apply to emplacements. Now the thing is that Palace of the Sultan obviously gives you free elephants, which is incredibly powerful. And I think in most normal circumstances, you probably want that landmark. But this isn't really a normal circumstance. He is a significant villager deficit. And so actually having the Hisar Academy, it generates a bit of food. So will help him catch up a little bit economy-wise. And I think it's probably a play that he needs. It's almost like it's a play that he's been forced into, considering the game state. Fortress on the north, sacred site as well. Certainly feels like Beastie's opting for that. He's looking to go to the Imperial Age himself as well. He won't be too far behind, and he will be going with the Teutonic Order. We'll give him access to the Teutonic Knights. More importantly, all gold units gain +2 melee armor, and that includes the Heavy Spearman. Building some forward siege workshops. Going to be important for trebuchets, of course. The Knights Templar don't actually get access to gunpowder units, so no bombards for them. Only trebuchets really as the main siege unit, but they do have a secondary projectile on their trebuchets. They can also upgrade it to have a third. Oh, just going to try and torch things down. Doesn't really have enough torches, Corvinus, to do this. There's the Imperial Age now for the Knights Templar. Bit of a throw of units there, I think, there for Corvinus. He's trying to stop the pilgrims coming on in, I guess. Beastie's military, Beastie's economy just looks straight up better. Try to get the quick walls in, but probably won't be enough, and the crossbows do need to back away. The fortress does have a spring order emplacement, which is very, very nice. Now, it does also increase the gold generation of sacred sites and monasteries with relics in them, of course. Also the pilgrims by 20%. Stone walls coming on out, which now do also have arrow slits and placements, which is pretty cool as a little bit of a bonus for them. I mean, granted, in the Imperial Age, that arrow slits don't do too much damage, especially against heavily armoured units. But they'll still be a nice bit of addition to the defences. Elite archers coming on in for Beastie. Plate cutter point. Spring order placement. I wonder if he's got his university up yet. Quick scan of the map. So not yet. Trebuchets are popping out for the Knights Templar. Looks like it's going to go for a very big push once all these upgrades come on in. Going to be getting fanaticism. Holy moly. So Templar Brothers and Commander era units gain 10% damage when below 50% health, and 30% when below 25% health. Makes them, I mean, it's certainly going to give them longevity. Another forward fortress. It's kind of like a fortress creep, right? It makes a lot of sense. It increases the range of ranged units, including, of course, the elite archers, but also gives them extra armor of all the units. And it should actually also apply to the trebuchets, which is pretty cool to think about. This is unfortunate, with the blacksmith being in the forward position. I mean, it's going to cut off some of the important upgrades for the Delhi. Especially with the double projectiles going to go down quick time. This is a push that Corvus might struggle to hold against. See how he addresses this army, right? Because you can't go cavalry up against heavy spearmen. I mean, crossbows could be an option. I mean, it has to be an option, really. It feels like it's the only viable unit to counter the spearmen. You could go for siege mangonels, but even then, I mean, these guys still have some good ranged armor. It's got archers to counteract crossbows from the Delhi. Difficult army to face up against. Springalds is going to be a decent shout. The only problem with this is that, I mean, the spearmen, if they can get around them and surround them, it's going to be a problem. Of course, the Springals don't have the greatest mobility. And he's losing forward production. 3 minutes until the Sacred Side victory. Not long to go. Corvinus has got to make a move soon. He is starting to build up military numbers, though. So he may have the force to fight this back. It's a bit of a raid here with the spearmen. Crossbows well positioned to take care of that. Bear in mind as well, gold is going to be a key issue. The double gold veins of 8,000 gold in the middle of the map, which Beastie has full control over right now. Going to get trebuchet emplacement inside the fortresses. One thing to think about. There it is. There's a trebuchet now in that, giving huge amounts of defensive, in fact, I guess in this sense, offensive ability. All these important upgrades, elite army tactics, adjustable crossbars, they're all coming in. Iron clamps too. They're going to be able to help fight, or at least hold off against the bombards a little bit more. Now that it's in. Looks like Corvinus is going for the northern sacred site potentially. It's stone-walled behind though, so he's going to have to make it a long trip to get there. The real question, okay, yeah, turning around to fight the army. There's only a minute and a half left though. Here come the man-at-arms, tanking to allow the crossbows to fight behind them, try and pepper down those heavy spearmen. Granted, the heavy spearmen numbers aren't great. There are a couple of Teutonic Knights in the mix with a huge 356 AP. Most of them have gone down now. I mean, the crossbows are a good counter unit to it, right? So man-at-arms crossbows proving to be very effective here for Corvinus. He's been able to take out the heavy spearmen. He's taken out a lot of the front line. Just elite archers behind this. This could be problematic. Oh god, this push from Beastie. Whilst it's done a lot of structural damage, takes out the town centre as well. He will end up losing this forward position most likely. With only a minute and a bit to go. Corvinus does need to get onto a sacred site though. Try to get on the middle one. Got to get through this fortress first. I wonder how he deals with it. I don't think he's got much siege. Oh, he's got one bombard. Only a single unit needs to take the fortress down first, which probably will go down pretty quickly. I mean, one bombard should be enough, but there is a secondary fortress backing it up. I think at this point, even with boiling oil, you just got to keep units here, Corvinus, and I don't think Beastie's going to... I don't know if he commits to this. He might. I mean, there is only a minute, right? It's going to be close. Mangonel gets a good shot there, but Man-at-Arms should be able to tank against it. Elite Archers, though, they aren't going to be doing too much damage against these elite Man-at-Arms. Just got to stay on it for a little bit longer here, Corvinus. He's almost decapping it. Springle's getting some good value behind it. I think in the end, yeah, I mean, he will decap it most likely. Question is, has he lost too much doing so? I mean, he's still got a lot of siege, a lot of Springles left. And there's the decap. Corvinus, he can breathe a sigh of relief. He's going to be able to reset, go back home. He's done what he needed to do in the immediate future. And you know what? The villager difference between the two players isn't all that great. Corvinus is still in the game. From a seemingly pretty poor position, he's managed to eke out a reasonable one. Mass farming transition now coming out for Beastie. So we might see a bit of more of a quiet phase of the game now. Beastie was only a couple of seconds away, less than a minute from victory. Wasn't able to seal the deal, and will Corvinus make him pay for that? Now, both fortresses were still alive, would you believe? I guess it's the big thing about not having cannon emplacements, right? Because it feels like it would be a totally different story if you had cannon emplacements. Fortunately, the Knights Templar just don't get that. It's kind of interesting to think about how they actually have a big play for sacred sites, but one of the big things in Imperial that they don't have to defend them is cannon emplacements. Now, 4 bombards, if they're well protected, they'll rip through these fortresses pretty quickly. Even with the upgrades in. As I said earlier, iron clamps will mitigate some of the damage output from these gunpowder cannons, 20% of it. But when you've got 4 of them, it still won't be too long before that goes down. So up against crossbows, man-at-arms, the question you have to ask is, where do the Knights Templar go? Could potentially go for Templar Brothers, which will do well against the man-at-arms. Won't do as well against the elite crossbows, but they'll be pretty tanky. It looks like instead he's going for Teutonic Knights, which I don't know, feel a bit awkward about because they aren't particularly fast in movement speed. They could probably be easily kited by the crossbows. I have to say, it's probably a unit that I've been very excited about conceptually, but not really a unit I've been a big fan of in terms of how good they are. They're just so slow. 0.9 tiles per second. It almost feels like it's a unit that you use to finish enemies over, rather than actually win a fight, because your enemy can just always run away from it. So it's kind of one of the situations where, unless you're deep into your enemy's base, the Teutonic Knights feel like they don't do all that much. Unless you're forcing a fight. Speaking of forcing fights, Corvinus is forcing that fortress to go down. Is making a move for the north. Looks like actually a bit of a counter raid. I mean, to be fair, this could be a way that Teutonic Knights are used. Just raid with them. Slowly but surely, though, Corvinus is starting to get these fortresses off the map. Oh, bit of a cheeky fortress up in the north. Oh, this is a strong position to get it in as well. Double gold vein. Unfortunately, Corvinus has not spotted this, so it's not garrisoned inside that outpost. And the fortress will go up in the end. Well, it looks like it will. Or maybe not, though, with the springles. Actually, I take it back. Oh, that's going to be... Holy moly, that's a lot of dead villagers. I'm glad we caught that. Okay, I mean, he's going to have to delete that, right? We shall see, but that's a big pick off there by Corvinus. Bit of a raid here with the Teutonic Knights. Eventually, we'll go down to the crossbows that are chasing. But again, it allows Beastie some time to now pretty much fully switch over to the elite horsemen and a heck of a lot of mangonels. Oh, bombards, they've been caught. A lot of the siege might go down for Corvinus here. Horseman certainly a good counter to the siege. Picks off a couple of bombards, a couple of springolds too. Corvinus trying to get another keep. Mangonels exposed for Beastie, pulls them back for now at least. Bit of a horseman raid as well. See, elite lancers from the Delhi. Good raid around the back as well by the elite Ghazi raiders. Sonic Knight still alive, forcing a lot of idle time for these villagers. Eventually will be cleared up. It's kind of crazy how Corvinus has got back into the fight though, right? 102 military versus 21. It's incredible to think about what position he was once in and what position he's clawed himself back into. I mean, I feel like the Knights Templar might struggle to see games out. And it's all really because they don't get gunpowder units. Does have a couple of Templar brothers now starting to mass on up. He's trying to take out as many of these mangonels Corvinus as he can. Probably only gets one. Maybe a second potentially. But he's running deep into the fortresses with boiling oil. Eventually, feels like the Templar brothers will clear this up. Oh, he might get a third mangonel. He might get a couple more actually. Certainly a nice snipe on that. The Templar brothers, a fantastic unit for this civilization. 412 HP, 32 damage, with 8 melee and ranged armor. Oh, he's going to lose a lot of the mangonels, in fact. These man-at-arms have done great work. All but one mangonel went down. But with the switch now to Templar brothers, I mean, there's a lot of crossbows still in the field for Corvinus, so they will do fine against them. But I guess in this stage of the game, population efficiency with the Templar brothers, if you can max out on them, Beastie will be in a good spot. He just needs to get full population with them. But he's far from it. He's got a lot of resources though. So the production is probably going to be ramping up. That's a whole lot of stables, guys. And they're all producing. Templar brothers. Getting some of the late stage upgrades. And one big thing to think about as well, the Templar brothers have a lot of mobility. Corvinus is just being a bit tentative, not really moving out just yet. Which could be part of his downfall actually, because he's got full population capacity. Sure, he doesn't really have much in the way of gold to remax his army if he does lose it, but if it doesn't move soon, he'll end up losing it anyway, most likely. Right, looks like it's going to be trebuchets once again for Beastie. Well, it kind of has to be, right? That's the only siege weapon that he really has in his arsenal, apart from rams, maybe. Rams, of course, a little bit hard to make work in this stage of the game. Using the trebuchets to... Oh, holy moly. The trebuchet is actually doing a decent amount of damage against the bombards. Bear in mind, these do now have... Has he got the triple? Yeah, he's got the 3 burst attacks. He got the upgrade in the end. Single mangonel do some work as well. And the trebuchets, I mean, they've got to be careful, right, not to get too exposed. You see the Templar brothers making sure they're protected, going right up against the spears, charging on in. The Templar brothers, they actually gain a +2 charge damage per nearby charging heavy cavalry. So their charge can be incredibly powerful, but it's going up against crossbows. Not too much of a front line though for the Delhi anymore. Springles on the back firing off. It feels like the Delhi should win this fight eventually. But at least the front line's been cleared up. It may just be that... Oh, he's got a couple of horsemen following up. Oh, that's a nice switch, right? He's got the Templar brothers to take out the front line, and the horsemen can follow up. And Corvinus is starting to lose his numbers heavily. Feels like a fight. That Beastie will start to sway in his favour now that he's switched into the horsemen. Not enough of a front line, I'm afraid, for the Delhi. Looks like Beastie might be gaining momentum once again. Still not great in terms of unit numbers, but he's got the bank of resources to keep on pumping. He's still making a lot of trebuchets. He's got to make sure they're protected though, because there's a lot of resources banked up in these trebuchets. Granted, he is fighting with a fortress on his side, which certainly helps. Oh, he's going for the elite heavy spearman once again. It feels like a really powerful trash unit, actually. The only way to counter them feels like it's going to be elite crossbows. Maybe elite... Maybe heavy spearman horseman could be a really nice option for Beastie. He's got the elite spearman that basically forces Corvinus to go for crossbows, and then he's got the horseman to counter the crossbows. Trebuchets to do everything else. Corvinus now back in gold. This is certainly a point of contention here. does have a keep to go back to. A couple of docks as well, which is interesting. He's going to go for some military ships to fight with him if he can. Although they might not last very long if the trebuchets aren't back on them. Oh, jeez. Actually does a decent amount of damage to those vills. Yeah, Beastie not happy about that. He's not going to want to let Corvinus take that gold for free. He's got good control of the gold in the south and the sacred side. And he's got so many fortresses that he's going to get extra pilgrims for it. Gotta say though, unit numbers for Corvinus just look a lot better. I mean, having said that, a lot of the unit population for Beastie is, you know, cooped up in siege. Fortress still under fire from the bombard. Bit of a raid here. The elite guards are ready for the Delhi. Probably actually going to do some damage because a lot of Beastie's army is pretty immobile. Maybe going for a bit of a counter raid of his own with the elite chevalier this time. He's got fortresses at home. He's just spamming fortresses everywhere. So at least his economy is nice and safe and secure in that regard. We're back on the elite chevalier. Spearman crossbows should be enough, right? There are two mangonels. He's fighting underneath the fortress. Spearman engaged with the chevalier. Although I think the spearmen are going for the trebuchets. At least a handful of them are. Good mangonel shots on the crossbows. Holy moly. He actually lost quite a lot there, the Delhi player Corvinus. And a massive raid around the back. These Chevalier will take a lot of villagers out before they're stopped. There's only one keep, and he's not spotted this Corvinus, so he's going to lose a lot of villagers. He's winning on the front positions, though, so he's taking out a lot of siege. But he's got a fortress to go back to here, Beastie, and he's doing some significant raids around the back. That's a lot of dead villagers on the farms. It does allow some population space to be freed up for army, but not much of a bank of food, and food's going to... Oh, holy moly, the crossbows! They got absolutely decimated by those trebuchets. That is incredible. I mean, these trebuchets are doing so much work, actually, to the military fight, the units fight. And he's getting even bigger raids here. Corvinus is bleeding villagers. Villagers that he can't really replace too easily. He hasn't got the food for it. At least he's losing some villagers of his own. But he's producing some really, really strong units. The Chevalier, the discounted knights. But make no mistake about it, he is getting a lot of value from them. Gains 1 max health for each nearby heavy cavalry, so just massing them up makes them even stronger as a group. Couple of hand cannoneers for Corvinus. The big thing is that with that massive raid that just happened, will Corvinus be able to remax his army easily? Probably not. What if this game comes down to the fact that that massive raid did a lot of damage with a couple of Chevalier? It might just. Some more going around the north, which Corvinus should be aware of, but can he do anything about? I mean, his army is quite static. Feels like we're getting to the position of the game where actually mobility is what's winning things. Yeah, villagers having to back away. This northern area is a big problem for Corvinus to secure. He needs gold. He's just not getting it. I say he needs gold. He's got a bit of a bank, but once that's gone, it's going to be hard to replace. Chevalier might dive this. It's probably not a great fight for Beastie, though. He has been caught a little bit here in a choke point. Spearman and cannoneers will clear this up. Without too much value being gained from this group of Chevalier, so a lot of resources will be lost here. It's a great fight for Corvinus, no doubt about it. He's going to take the trade anyway, it seems. Elephant added into the mix. Yeah, it's expensive loss of Beastie. Maybe that's the way back for Corvinus. He just took out a massive army. But maybe arguably even a bigger army on the front positions now, heading forwards. Elite heavy spearmen, elite chevalier, and a heck of a lot of siege. And a fortress being built. So whilst he did lose a lot of cavalry there, it did buy him some time to get a foothold in a forward position once again. Beastie's got a strong economy behind this, a strong bank of resources. 4,500 of both food and gold. Bear in mind, This fortress is going to give a lot of bonuses to the fight, improves the range of ranged units, which is mostly the mangonel, springles, and to be fair, all the siege. But also, it's going to be getting extra armor for his units. Just about to engage. There's a lot of elephants coming for Corvinus, though. This could be a really important fight. That's a lot of heavy spearmen, and I think the heavy spearmen should do really well against the elephants, rather. A couple of mangonels can get some really good shots on the crossbows. I mean, it feels like the siege in the end is just a little bit too strong here for Beastie, although the elephants might have something to say about that. They've taken out a lot of the front line that Beastie has. Repairs coming out on the fortress. But probably not for too long, because it's a lot of rams. They're going to try and torch things down with the villagers, and the fortress will go down in the end. There's a lot of siege being blocked. The elephants might take out a lot of it. Beastie having to retreat, not for the first time in the game. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think how Corvinus has pulled this back, at least for now. We had been missing the elephants to the army, and he's got them in now. But does that mean that Beastie just goes full elite spearman? It is a counter, after all, to the war elephant. So extra +7 versus elephants. 9 melee armor. The elephants are still charging on through, though. That's a lot of idle villagers for Beastie. This could be problematic. He will not want to lose that number of springles and that number of trebuchets. He lost a lot already. Elephants are very weak, though. There's no scholars here to heal on up. So he does lose 2 of those big chunky... 3, in fact, of those chunky boys. I guess the defender's advantage works out well here for Beastie. He's pushing the army back. He did lose the forward position. Might just come down to a war of attrition. Who has the better bank of resources? He's going to go for another fortress. It seems like it. Those villagers are getting ready to build. Oh, massive mangonel shots on the hand cannoneers. These are not cheap units. They're absolutely decimated by those mangonels. There we go. More fortresses being used. Heavy spearmen pushing forward. Man-at-arms is the choice for Corvinus. Yeah, it's a bit tricky though with this number of springalds. Really hard to stop. 3 trebuchets working on the fortress. A lot of siege from Beastie. Mangonels unpack. Going for a lot of the cavalry. That's a lot of spearmen tanking that front line. Rams can't really path their way through. Man-at-arms will get on top of a lot of the springles though. Question is, will they take enough of them out? Elephants, they are being healed by the scholars, so they're going to be having a little bit extra longevity. A lot of the elite spearmen are down, but another massive follow-up of extra of them. A lot of the springles are very low on health. But in the end, Corvinus' army, well, there's not much of a front line anymore. He's got siege, but not much else. A couple of crossbows on the back, but those elite spearmen should be able to get on top of them. Elephants will go down. Only 1 more remains. And Corvinus is starting to suffer. There's just so many siege engines for the Knights Templar. Even more trebuchets come forward. This is proving difficult. Could this be the push that sees the game out? Quite possibly the trebuchets with the 3 projectiles. Doing a heck of a lot of work. Yet another fortress. And the economy behind this for Beastie is absolutely phenomenal. I think in the late Imperial Age, I mean, the fact that you don't have to build lumber camps and the fact that resources just keep trickling in like this, both food and wood from the lumberjacks, it's kind of crazy. And this number of trebuchets, 9 of them, it's going to take the town centre down really easy. Could just go for a landmark snipe at this point. Looks like there might be just 1 fight left in this. Like, fighting underneath 2 fortresses, even without cannon emplacements, is going to be a problem. Going to go for the springald emplacements at least. Here comes potentially 1 last charge of the elephants. Mangonels get deployed. They do take out a lot of HP. There's a lot of scholars healing on up. Spearmen tanking the front line for the Knights Templar. Siege heading back. They're going to deploy once again. Good mangonel shots from the Delhi. Is it going to be enough? He's got a hold on that front line. If he doesn't, the elite spearman will get on top of the mangonels in the end. He loses a lot of the trebuchets here, Beastie. There's certainly a problem. Corvinus holding just for now, but again, just not much of a front line for him. Mostly scholars. Look at this follow-up with elephants. That could be a way that he actually wins this engagement. Beastie down to 24 military units that are non-siege. And that's a lot of elephants for Corvinus. Springal's being repaired by the villagers on site. Massive mangonel shots on trebuchets. 2 of them go down. The elephants may have just overcommitted though, because there's not a lot supporting them. And the trouble is that these fortresses are going to be hard to take down now. And in the meantime, the fortresses are taking infrastructure away. With the trebuchet that's on top, boiling oil is in as well. Beastie's got a bank of resources that he keeps pumping out the elite spearmen and to the Teutonic Knights. Somehow, when Beastie loses his army, he just always seems to replace it. He's got a lot of production behind this, trickling in the units to the fortress positions. An absolute meat grinder of a game. Looks like Corvinus is building up some momentum. But what does he have? Oh, that's another massive mangonel shot. I was about to say, what does he have? Not that many crossbows. Elite spearmen. They're so durable. Got a whopping 235 HP. Massive mangonel shots on the scholars once again. It feels like actually the momentum certainly in BC's favour. Fighting underneath 2 fortresses. Not ideal for the Delhi. Another massive mangonel volley. And I think that's it. I mean, Corvinus he's running out of steam. He doesn't have wood. The spearmen numbers really escalating for Beastie. With the mangonels behind this, and the war of attrition may just be coming to an end here. Oh, the cavalry definitely not going to survive very well against this particular unit, the elite heavy spearmen. Beastie's military numbers starting to overshadow now. Corvinus finding it difficult to muster an army. That's a lot of siege from Beastie as well. Yet another fortress. Bear in mind that fortress, if it is upgraded with a trebuchet, it's going to be even harder for these buildings to survive. Bear in mind the sacred timer has been ticking the whole time. About 3.5 minutes remaining, and it doesn't really feel that there's any way for Corvinus to decap that, right? A big raid here on the gold vein. Corvinus is running out of gold, in terms of income at least. He's not going to be able to get too much more. At this point, with all the melee units, the torches are out, the mangonels are out, the trebuchets are out. He loses the town centre once again. All that's next is to take out the production buildings, and even if he does have some resources, Corvinus will be finding it difficult to produce anything without the production. Yet another fortress looking to be built by the Templars. And Corvinus, he's struggling on wood, right? He can't break out. In fact, there's almost no wood for him to chop. Looks like Beastie and the Templars have finally been able to crack Corvinus's Delhi. He's making a dash for this wood. No lumber camp. No bueno. And he does call in GG. Corvinus unable to come back from what was a devastating raid earlier on by the Knights Templar. It was a bit tricky for Beastie to see the game out, especially with that gunpowder units. But he found a way in the end. And it all came down to the elite heavy spearmen. Hope you guys enjoyed this casted game. If you did, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Take care, and see you next time.